It don't matter the color of the skin, either woman or man, just let the case land. It's here, it's in safe hands. This is God work, not a fake plan. Too many kids being found in these lakes, man. This is MTGV, and you with Miss V. She keep her ear to the street.
Welcome in, everybody.
This is the place that you wanna be, but all trolls we delete. Better believe.
Tonight, tense moments in court as one by one and in handcuffs, 9 former or suspended New York State corrections officers made their first appearance before an Oneida County judge. 5 of them, Nicholas Anzalone, David Kingsley, Anthony Farina, Christopher Walrath, and Matthew Gallagher, facing murder charges for the December death of inmate Robert Brooks. Redacted body camera video from that day shows the group of officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat.
These men murdered my father. It was on video. The whole world got to see it.
The alleged murder happened inside a medical examination room at the Marcy Correctional Facility in upstate New York on December 9th of last year.
Robert Brooks committed a crime. He was doing his time. He had a right to safety, to humanity. He was denied that. This is unacceptable.
3 other corrections officers, David Walters, Michael Fisher, and Michael Mashaw, facing charges of manslaughter, and 1, Nicholas Gentile, of tampering with evidence.
Our investigation further revealed that there was no provocation by Robert Brooks that would have precipitated any physical response whatsoever, never mind the physical response that was inflicted upon him.
All defendants pleading not guilty today.
Later formal proceedings entered into not guilty of charges at this time.
And released on bail, or in Gentile's case, of his own recognizance. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend and died from his injuries the next day.
I would never get my father back. The men have robbed me of that opportunity.
Robert Brooks's father, among those watching today from the courtroom.
You marched him out. You let him go. My son didn't get that opportunity. My son didn't have a bail. And my son didn't have a murder charge.
And welcome in, everybody. So y'all see who we talking about. We are talking about Robert Brooks. He was attacked at Marcy Correctional. And also I'm seeing that the corrections are actually on strike in New York with demands and all of that. So I want to go through that as well. Welcome in, everybody. Shout out to everybody on the replay. Welcome in to Eula. Thank you for dropping down in the chat. Please be sure to smack that thumbs up on the replay. And if you're here, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We're going to get to this. Before we go too far, the 10th guard is charged in this fatal unaliving. So this article is coming from Central New York News, and it is Utica, New York. So a 10th New York State prison guard was arraigned Monday on unaliving charges, other charges, and the fatal unaliving of the inmate 2 months ago. So they had a chance to celebrate all the holidays with their family. They got a chance to go home, get their finances and different things together and figure out how they gonna get their stories together and all of this stuff. And Robert didn't get that chance. Yes, what he did was a bad thing that he was in prison for, but he was in there doing his time and he did not deserve what happened to him. So we're going to go through what's going on right now. I'm going to get to, right now I'm going to go to see what they protesting about. What are they talking about? So the New York governor had to actually deploy National Guards because they are saying that they don't want to go back in there and work. So let's see what's really going on.
Well, now to a developing story in New York State. Chaos in state prisons. The National Guard called in as corrections officers walk off the job, triggering an uprising among the inmates.
All symptoms of a problem seen all across the country. ABC's Rhiannon Alley has more. The nationwide shortage of prison workers reaching a boiling point. A week-long strike by corrections officers in New York now spreading to nearly all the state's 42 prisons.
We're doing it for the future. It's not safe for anyone, so we don't care.
And inmates apparently taking advantage. Hundreds taking over the dorms at one facility for hours. Officers retreating as an emergency response team was called to reestablish order. The governor already calling in the National Guard for help staffing the prisons. The striking officers are protesting forced overtime and want changes to a law that restricts punishments for inmates. Prison staffing shortages have worsened across the country since the pandemic. The Bureau of Prison staffing shortfall was estimated around 40% last year. Shortfalls at some prisons in Georgia estimated around 70% and around 50% in Oklahoma. But officers say bringing in the National Guard is not the answer.
They don't know the do's and don'ts inside the walls. Like, it'd be no different than some of us getting sent to do the National Guard's job. It's not going to work.
Meanwhile, 9 officers at one of the New York prisons now facing charges in connection with the death of inmate Robert Brooks. In this disturbing video, officers at a facility in Utica are seen beating Brooks last year.
About a half an hour later, he was clinically dead.
6 former officers are now charged with murder. 3 others, manslaughter.
I think any sentient human being looking at the tapes naturally comes to the conclusion that he must have said something. He must have spit at the officers. He must have resisted in some way. And the fact of the matter is, he did absolutely nothing.
An autopsy found Brooks died from asphyxia due to neck compression and blunt force injuries. The former officers have pleaded not guilty. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
This is very hard to watch still. It really disgusts me. And for them to be on strike is like, go to work. Like, I mean, everything has to work together. I do agree. I mean, I'm sure it's a bunch of criminals there, but then you got criminal guards too, and it all has to work together for everybody. Look at what's happening now. Look what he endured. And they just said that he did nothing, even if he did say something to the guard. And I mean, if he, spit on the guard, you know what I'm saying? That's a horrible thing. But even if he did that, he did not deserve that, to be handcuffed and flung around like a rag doll. And the people that worked there did nothing to protect him. They did nothing, but they actually helped to cover it up, which is why they're in trouble. And also some of them are like, they're being called informants or whatever. So we're going to get into what happened in court, and then we'll go back to what's going on, in the city with the guards and all of that. But the reason why we came here is about Robert Brooks. So let me see. Let's go here. Okay, so while this is sitting here,
thank you.
okay, so it says Officer Nicholas Kiefer, he surrendered himself to the state prison and was in handcuffs in Oneida County Court in Utica. He pleaded not guilty in a brief appearance before Judge Robert Bauer. Kiefer, 33, was indicted on multiple charges, including second-degree unaliving, first-degree manslaughter, second-degree gang assault, and first-degree offering a false instrument for fouling. So 8 other correction officers and a prison sergeant also faced charges related to the fatal attack of the inmate Robert L. Brooks. 3 prison guard systems employees have reached plea agreements. So 3 prison system employees have reached a plea agreement, and at least 3 others remain under investigation, prosecutors have said. So I actually have I got like a picture here that shows the people and their charges. So let me pull that up right quick.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, we're having some difficulty hearing you. I'm going to ask you shortly. shortly and then have a pretrial conference to. Do I understand correctly, Mr. Sifranco, you've been retained to represent Nicholas Anzalone? That is your name, sir, Nicholas Anzalone?
Yes.
How old are you, Mr. Anzalone?
44.
Mr. Anzalone, you're here today because the grand jury of Oneida County returned an indictment against you, and you have to be arraigned upon that. Counsel, you may arraign. People against Nicholas Anzalone, indictment 25035, on for arraignment today. Defense counsel would please note your appearance for the record. Do I understand correctly, Mr. Sifranco, you've been retained to represent Nicholas Anzalone? That is your name, sir, Nicholas Anzalone?
Yes.
How old are you, Mr. Anzalone?
44.
So I was trying to figure out who the heck is doing the talking, but okay.
Anzalone, you're here today because the grand jury of Oneida County returned an indictment against you, and you have to be arraigned upon that. Counsel, you may arraign.
Sifranco, take care of that.
Understood.
I do acknowledge it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Well, if they don't speak up,
Oh, okay. Mr. Fitzpatrick, we're having some difficulty hearing you. I'm going to ask you if you'd use the podium that has a microphone available to you. We'll get that over closer to you. Mr. Sifranco, did you want to be heard on that topic?
Yes, Your Honor. Bail bond claim is as well as surrender himself. Family in this area could be possibly felony. Bailed himself in constant contact office. Not have a valid passport when he was surrendered. Not that.
who is talking?
Being the jurisdiction is all intentions of being there for.
Oh, him barely opening his dang
Would
mouth.
ask you to set the bail as requested by the district.
What the
But
heck?
the court has considered the statutory factors, and I do
Yeah, we
take
ain't about to do
particular
this
note of
one.
the reality that if the defendant were convicted of the top count contained in this indictment, he faces a sentence of as much as 25 years to life in state prison.
He deserves life.
Accordingly, bail is set in the following amounts. That is $100,000 cash, $250,000 insurance company bail bond, or $1 million partially secured surety bond with a minimum 10%.
So here's some pictures. Here's a picture of everybody. I didn't create this, but someone did. So let's see if we can find him on here. You know what, too? I ran across a video where his dad was talking. He literally had bought a business. He said that his son enjoyed cooking. Robert did before he was locked up and all of the stuff happened. So he actually had bought a business that he had purchased, I want to say 2 months before this all happened. And since this all happened, he sold it. You know, he's no longer doing it, but this is him at the actual business, and he was talking a little bit about it. But this is the list of people that were allegedly involved. I didn't know all of these people was involved, but you see the ones that are listed as informants versus the ones with the, oh, I see tampering. And so I forgot already what this dude's name is. Anzalone or something. But okay, let's go.
Deposit. Do I understand correctly, Mr. Sifranco, you have a bondsman available?
Yeah, they gonna be heard about them getting out on bond.
All right. Mr. Bernardo, if you have that paperwork complete, I will review the same.
Okay, let's speed this up. They right in them cuffs where they belong. Straight up criminal. A coward at that. A handcuffed man carrying him in like they was carrying him in.
Officer, would you do me a favor and
Piece of
pass that over
shit.
to Mr. Safranco as well?
Standing there looking stupid.
Yes, you may.
So again, as we watch this, these are my concerns. As the world turns and as the world changes, these are my concerns. Cops like this, or whatever you want to call them, play cops getting off on doing things like this. They should have had a higher bond. They shouldn't be able to bond out and get out. Robert didn't. I watched that video, still not understanding what did he do. Nothing. He didn't do nothing. Literally, the guy, I don't know if that was a prosecutor talking in the beginning or not,
All right,
but he
and
said
before me now
he didn't do nothing.
is Bondsman Jay Bernardo. Mr. Bernardo, you swear the truth of
They
the
just wanted
content
to
of
do
your
that.
bail undertaking an affidavit. Is that correct? Thank you.
There's nothing to
Mr.
justify
Anzalone,
that.
confirm for me you signed the bail undertaking here as well? Yes.
He
All
was
right.
handcuffed.
Mr. Anzalone, I have before me now a proposed bail bond in the amount of $250,000, and I understand you're asking to be released upon this bond. Do I have that right? Yes. You understand what your number one obligation is under this bond? Yes. What is that? Report. Exactly. Return to court. Some things I want to make sure you understand. First, you do have a right to be present at all stages of proceedings in your case, but if for some reason you did not come back to court as required, then a warrant would be issued for your arrest. The bail you're posting by way of this bond, that would be forfeited and lost. You would then face a new felony charge, and that's known as bail jumping. Your case could then proceed in your absence. That means you could be tried in your absence, and if convicted, sentenced in your absence as well. You understand? Yes. I have received now a document entitled Parker Warning, outlining the warnings that I just gave you in writing. You signed this document here as well after reviewing it with your attorney. Is that right? Yes. Court is signing and approving the bail bond.
So he's the fourth one on this list. Let me go back.
Chancellor, gentlemen can have that. Mr. Anzalone, you're due back in this court March 31st at 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference with your attorney. I will see you back here then.
He's the fourth
Anything further from my
one on
side?
the list.
All set then. Thank you, counsel.
Bail should be denied.
Yep. That's messed up. So they get to go home still. They knew this was gonna happen. They had time to get their money and stuff together. So what else? Is it a couple of them coming out today? That sucks.
Absolutely.
Let me see how the family feeling about this. What is this about?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Mr. Starzewski, any objection to the media coverage here today?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, can I assume you have a continuing no objection? All right, very good. The court will permit the same.
What are we waiting on, sirs? Who else coming up? There you go.
Not guilty plea is entered on the defendant's behalf.
Ugly so.
This time, Judge, I'm going to hand counsel a copy of the indictment, again with the
Do he look like Frankenstein or what? Like, who the hell is this one? Like, what? He look a mess. Okay, let me quit. But, this
indicted
angers
by
me,
an Oneida County grand jury charged with various crimes, the top
Hell
count of which
yeah.
is murder in the second degree. And counsel, I'd ask if you waive a formal reading of the indictment. Waive a reading and enter plea not guilty to all charges.
Not guilty plea is entered on the defendant's behalf.
This time, Judge, I'm going to hand counsel a copy of the indictment, again with the admonition that one name has been redacted because that individual is not in custody. also providing our standard pretrial notices along with a disc concerning certain statements made by Mr. Farina and asking knowledge received. Knowledge received, Your Honor.
All right. What I'm going to do, Mr. Starzewski, is adjourn the matter to March 31st at 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference to give you some time to review the discovery materials. At that time, I can set up a motion schedule for you as well. Will that be you or Mr. Riotto at that time?
Probably Mr. Riotto.
Very good. All right. And with respect to the topic of bail, Mr. Fitzpatrick?
I would ask, Your Honor, bail consistent with what he said on Mr. Anselon.
Mr. Starzewski, your thoughts?
Go ahead.
All right, the court's considered the statutory factors and taking particular note of the fact that the defendant, if convicted of the top count, could face a sentence of as much as 25 years to life in state prison. Bail is set in the following amounts. That is $100,000 cash, $250,000 insurance company bail bond, or $1 million partially secured surety bond with a minimum 10% deposit. Officer, if you please pass this over. Mr. Starzewski, I'm going to have you provided with a Parker warning to review with your client. Thank you. Mr. Farina, you do have a right to be present at all stages of proceedings in your case, but if for some reason you posted bail and then did not come back to court as required for your arrest, the posted bail will be forfeited and lost. You may then face a new felony charge known as bail jumping, and the case may proceed in your absence, meaning you could be tried in your absence, and if convicted, sentenced in your absence as well. You understand that? I've received this document entitled Parker Warning, which outlines in writing the warnings that I just gave you. Confirm for me you signed this document after reviewing it here with your attorney today. Thank you. All right, bail is set the amount so indicated. The defendant's to return to court on March 31st at 9:30 a.m.
March
Anything further
31st.
from either side?
No, Your Honor.
Nice.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd ask that defendant surrender his passport to counsel, and counsel advise me of when it has been surrendered, and suggest a week to do that. We'll make that happen.
Very good. If you please notify the court when that's complete.
I will.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
They had enough heads up to do it all. All right.
All studies committed.
Now, I don't know. Which one of them is he on here? What number is he? This is wild.
So y'all get that bitch.
Ain't it though? He said, ain't that a bitch? Okay, who coming up next? I don't know how many did appeared this first one. I think this is the first. Oh, there's another one. He came out quicker. He kind of looked like the McMichael guy. Gallagher. Is that what they said? Hold on. Which number is he?
The matter of the people against Matthew Gallagher, indicted 25035 on for arraignment today. I understand, Mr. Lewerbrand, you've been retained to represent Matthew Gallagher. Is that right? Yes, Your Honor. That's your name, sir, Matthew Gallagher? Yes. How old are you, Mr. Gallagher? 43.
43.
Mr. Gallagher, you're here today because the grand jury of Oneida County has returned an indictment against you. You must be arraigned upon that indictment. Counsel, you may arraign.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gallagher, an indictment 2025-35 in the Oneida County Grand Jury has charged you with various crimes, the top count of which is murder in the second degree. And I'd ask counsel if you waive a further reading of the indictment.
Yes, we do, Your Honor. We enter a plea of not guilty and waive reading of the indictment. A not guilty plea is entered on the defendant's behalf.
This time, Judge, I'm going to hand counsel a copy of the indictment with one name redacted, along with our standard pretrial notices, including a disc containing statements allegedly made by Mr. Gallagher, and ask you to acknowledge receipt of those.
Keep the documents and I acknowledge receipt. All right, in that case, it's the court's intention to adjourn the matter to the morning of March 31st, 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference. I'll give you time between now and then to review the discovery materials and set a motion schedule at that next appearance.
Good morning.
With respect to bail, what's the position of the people?
Your Honor, we recommend bail consistent with what you said on Mr. Anzalone and Mr. Farina.
That's bullshit.
Mr. Lewerbrand, your
It
thoughts?
sure is bullshit.
We would join in that request. Mr. Gallagher is a lifetime resident of the area. He has family local, 2 young children and a wife. He's his work throughout the area. He has no criminal record whatsoever, Your Honor.
And he got one now. Y'all hear this mess? What?
And the statutory factors, and noting that the defendant could.
Who Who got the mic that's cussing? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Face a sentence of as much as 25 years to life in state prison. If convicted after trial of this matter, bail is set in the following amounts: $100,000 cash, $250,000 insurance company bail bond, or $1 million partially secured surety bond with a minimum 10% deposit. Mr. Gallagher in a position to post that bond today, or did you need to schedule that?
He's prepared. Mr. Bernardo has agreed to provide the bond for us on behalf of Mr. Gallagher.
Of course. That's the union money.
I'll pass the Parker warning over. You can review that with your client while I look over the bond paperwork, please.
That's that union money. Niggas ain't got that kind of money, man.
I agree.
Taxpayers' money.
Where they getting this money from? He said it's taxpayers' money. Where they getting it from? Wait, who recording this? I don't know who doing this, all this talking.
All right. Before me now is Bond.
You right.
Bernardo. Mr. Bernardo, you swear the truth and content of your bail affidavit and undertaking?
This is crazy, man.
Gallagher signed the same.
We knew it was gonna be a trick bag, right? We knew that. They was waiting all this time for this. So all of their asses can get right back out.
Your kids gotta watch this. You probably don't let them watch it. That's basically.
Did I pull up somebody's video? I gotta look to see.
He beats on helpless, innocent black men in prison.
He did. He sure did.
Who swore to uphold and defend the
But
Constitution.
who damn videos is like that? Wait, hold on, y'all.
Bail bond in the amount of $250,000. I understand you're asking to be released upon this. Is that right? Do you understand what your number one obligation is under this bond? Exactly right. You do have a right to be present at all stages of proceedings in your case. If you do not come back to court as required, then a warrant will be issued for your arrest. The bail you're posting by way of this bond will be forfeited and lost, and you'll then face a new felony charge, and that's known as bail jumping. Your case may then proceed in your absence. That means you could be tried in your absence and if convicted, sentenced in your absence as well. Do you understand that? Now, the warnings I just gave you were just provided to you in written form by way of this document entitled Parker Warning. I'm holding the same up for you. Confirm for me that you did sign this document here after you reviewed it with your attorney. We're just signing and approving the bail bond. If you're released on the bond today, you're due back in this court on March 31st at 9:30 a.m. Thank you. All set. Thank you.
Nice, huh? So I'm gonna go to a video about his father, how he's feeling about like this stuff. Hold on, let me get to it, and then we're gonna come back to this to just see him all walk right back out the dang on door. Something, huh?
Walter's down there.
That's my question. Why? Why do y'all hate us so? Why? What do we do? What?
I don't know why.
What do we do? We ain't do nothing. We help you. That's my question. Why? Why do y'all hate us so? Why? What do we do? What do we do? We ain't do nothing. We help you build this country. We help you build it. Blood, sweat, and tears. We help you build this country. So why do you hate us?
That's how he feel. And it's sad. Sad. No way.
And what can I do to
they humanize the situation? They already had time on.
Humanize the staff, humanize the incarcerated individuals. And I said, well, maybe go spend the night. Let me spend the night in Marcy and let's see what happens. Let's see how the incarcerated individuals respond. Let's see how staff respond. I just wanted to feel for myself what the incarcerated individual was going through and what staff were going through. So I showed up to the prison and called the commissioner and told him what I intended on doing, and he gave me courtesy.
And what did you hear?
Well, anything we heard the other three visits, that, abuse is rampant, there's still officers there who, haven't been charged, but they're not on footage, but it doesn't mean that, they're not, they're not being abusive. So the whole thing is, so we took the tour, we found out 24 officers hit squad from Mid-State to Marcy and Mohawk. We understand that there are officers still there, and this sparks fear in the incarcerated individuals.
attorney for Michael Pitcher.
Welcome in, guys.
Down there, right?
Oh, let's move this along. What am I doing? Distracted. Well, they be wasting so much time in court. It ain't even funny. Oh, that's the. Oh. Oh.
For a request from news media for audio and video coverage of today's proceedings.
Which one is this?
So to begin, Ms. Hartwell, I do have a number of requests from news media for audio and video coverage of today's proceedings, as well as still photography. Do you have any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Court will permit the same. Sir, your name is Christopher Walrath?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Walrath, you're charged under indictment 25035 with the felony offenses of murder in the second degree as well as manslaughter in the first degree. On these charges, you're entitled to the assistance of counsel at this and all stages of proceedings. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you at no cost to you. Ms. Hartwell here is with the Public Defender's Office.
Which one
If you
is
qualify
he,
for her services and you like, I can assign her to represent you. Is that your wish?
Yes.
She at least preliminarily qualify, Ms. Hartwell?
Yes, Your Honor, he does.
All right. And at this time, Ms. Hartwell and her office will be assigned to represent you. I'll just note, Mr. Walrath, that is subject to your it being verified that you are financially eligible for assignment of the Public Defender's Office and that we do not have a conflict of counsel develop as the case moves forward. I just want to make sure you understand that. With that, you're here today to be arraigned on indictment 25035. And Mr. Fitzpatrick, you may arraign.
Mr. Walrath, in indictment 2025-35, you've been charged by an Oneida County grand jury with various crimes, the top count of which is murder in the second degree. Counsel asks if you waive a formal reading of the indictment.
I will. Yes, thank you.
This time, Your Honor, I'm going to hand counsel a copy of the indictment with one name redacted because that person is not yet in custody, along with our standard pretrial notices, and ask if you acknowledge receipt of that.
Welcome in.
Do I acknowledge receipt, Your Honor?
And enter a plea.
Yes, Your Honor, we enter a plea of not guilty.
A not guilty plea is entered on the defendant's behalf. I'm going to adjourn the case to March 31st at 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference and to set a motion schedule. With respect to the topic of bail, what's the position of the people?
We would ask for bail to be set consistent with that of Mr. Ganzalone, Mr. Farina, and Mr. Gallagher, Your Honor.
Ms. Hartwell, your thoughts?
Your Honor, with regard to that, I'm just only asking the court to consider the reasonable bail based on the information that the court has received, as well as the fact that my client is a lifelong resident here in the area of New York State, and I do not believe it's a flight risk.
Officer, would you mind passing this over to Ms. Hartwell, please? Court has considered the arguments of counsel as well as the statutory factors, taking particular note of the reality that if the defendant were convicted of the top count contained in the indictment, he could face as much as 25 years to life in state prison. Bail is set in the following amounts. That is $100,000 cash, $250,000 insurance company bail bond, or $1 million partially secured surety bond with a minimum 10% deposit. Now, Mr. Walrath, if you do make bail and you're released while these charges are pending, you do have a right to be present at all stages of the proceedings in your case. If you do not come back to court when required, then a warrant will be issued for your arrest. The bail posted would be forfeited and lost. You would then face a new felony charge that's known as bail jumping. And the case may proceed in your absence, meaning you can be tried in your absence and if convicted, sentenced in your absence as well. You understand?
Yes.
There's a document in writing to that effect of the warnings I just gave you. Please take a moment to review the same with your attorney, and then you may sign.
Nice. Nice. You call him a skinhead?
Good morning.
The record, the defendant has executed the original of the court's written Parker warning. The matter is adjourned now to March 31st at 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I would ask the court ordered defendant to surrender his passport to counsel and that she advise the court and special prosecutor when that's done.
All right. Understood. Thank you.
My family is going through an unimaginable amount of pain. No one should have to experience what we are experiencing. The murder of my father by the people who are supposed to keep him safe.
Thank you.
But we are also feeling incredible support for our community here in Rochester and everyone who's reached out all over the country. We want to say thank you to everyone who is standing up and saying what happened to my father should have not happened to anyone. I can't describe what it's like to receive the news of his murder or the experience of watching that awful video. I felt helpless, like I was there with him and there was nothing I could do. I wouldn't wish this nightmare on anyone. But as painful as it is important that the world sees these images. They have the power to spark the change we need. I want to tell you more about my father, though. He was more than the last final moments. Robert L. Brooks was a neighborhood hero. He was a great man. He was everyone's favorite uncle. He wanted to make sure everybody was happy around him. That's what made him happy. He was very passionate of creating music and writing short stories. One of my favorite memories of my father is when his car broke down.
Fisher, under indictment 25035 on for arraignment today. That's your name, sir, Michael Fisher? How old are you, Mr. Fisher? 54.
54. You still doing that dumb shit, bro?
Mr. Fisher, you're here today because the grand jury of Oneida County returned an indictment against you. You are charged with one count of the felony offense of manslaughter in the second degree. On this charge, you're entitled to the assistance of counsel at this and all stages of proceedings. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you at no cost to you. Ms. Hartwell is with the Public Defender's Office. If you qualify and you like, I can assign her to represent you. Is that your wish?
Yes, please.
He qualifies?
He does, Your Honor. Preliminary qualifies for public defender services.
All right. So, Mr. Fisher, I'm assigning Ms. Hartwell today so you understand. Conditionally, that is that you're going to ultimately, after they give a further review of your finances, properly qualify for assignment of counsel. And then I'm going to have to look into whether or not a conflict exists and they need to assign you counsel. You understand?
Yeah,
you can stand in for arraignment today.
Yes.
Very good. And we'll proceed with the arraignment. Mr. Fitzpatrick, you may arraign.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Fisher, indictment 2025-35, you have been charged by an Oneida County grand jury with a single crime of manslaughter in the second degree. Counsel, I'd ask if you waive a formal reading of the indictment. Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to hand counsel a copy of the redacted indictment, redacted only with one name being removed, along with our standard pretrial notices, along with a disc containing statements allegedly made by Mr. Fisher, and I'd ask if you acknowledge receipt of those items.
You should get murder. For real. Murder. Right. Are you paying your bill?
There's no conspiracy charges, none of that. But what happened to the conspiracy charges?
The not guilty plea is entered on the defendant's behalf. This matter will be adjourned to March 31st at 9:30 a.m. for a pretrial conference and setting a motion schedule.
Not one fucking conspiracy charge.
Fitzpatrick, did you want to be heard on topic of bail?
Yes, Your Honor. I would ask, we have the people, bail be set in the amount of $25,000 cash or $100,000 bond. And I'd also ask, as with previous arraigned defendants, that Mr. Fisher surrender his passport to counsel and she advised the court and the special prosecutor of same.
Is there a passport to surrender?
No, he does not, Your Honor.
Ms. Hartwell, your thoughts on bail?
Your Honor, with regard to bail, again, I would ask the court to consider reasonable bail in this matter. I do see that Mr. Fisher is not charged with 2 counts, but only 1 count. And he is a lifelong resident of the state of New York, and he is not a flight risk. As I've just indicated, he does not have a passport. And I can assure that he will not be a flight risk, and I ask the court to consider bail slightly lower than what's been recommended.
The court's considered the arguments of counsel and noting that the defendant could be sentenced to as much as 5 to 15 years in state prison if convicted after a trial. Bail is set in the following amounts. That is $50,000 cash, $100,000 insurance company bail bond, or $500,000 partially secured surety bond with a minimum 10% deposit. If I understand correctly, Mr. Bernardo is in a position to post the bond today. All right, when you have your paperwork ready, I'll review the same. Oh, sir, if you don't mind passing that over for me, thank you. Here.
So we're to a lesser extent aware of what was happening to Robert, or should have been aware of what was happening to him, and did nothing. The most important question that we face, and which I think will be the centerpiece of the trial, whenever that is, will be what did Robert die from? The latter question has been answered to my satisfaction and to the satisfaction of the grand jury by the Onondaga County Assistant Medical Examiner, Katya Merkalova. Robert died of
It's extremely hard to sit here and watch them just walk out like they did nothing. And you can hear the family. It's really hard for them to sit back and just watch this. They can't even be quiet. And they know that this is wrong. They had so much time to prepare for this, and they already knew what they was going to do. So we going to find, this is a press conference from like 4 days ago is what it's looking like. And let me see. This is the NYC, New York prosecutor announcing the charges in the unaliving of Robert Brooks, and this is from February 20th.
massive beating to his body, both externally and internally.
Trigger word.
Several of his internal organs were bruised. His hyoid bone was fractured. His thyroid cartilage was ripped. He also died as a result of repeated restrictions to his airways, causing severe brain damage.
Wow, hold on. Let's slow this down. I ain't heard none of this at all. Let's do that.
Organs were bruised. His hyoid bone was fractured. That we face, and that, which I think will be the centerpiece of the trial, whenever that is, will be what did Robert die from? The latter question has been answered to my satisfaction and to the satisfaction of the grand jury by the Onondaga County Assistant Medical Examiner, Katya Merkalova. Robert died of massive beating to his body, both externally and internally. Warnings. Several of his internal organs were bruised. His hyoid bone was fractured. His thyroid cartilage was ripped.
Wow.
He also died as a result of repeated restrictions to his airways, causing severe brain damage. And finally, he died by choking on his own blood. Our investigation revealed that in addition to the tape beating, which you probably have already seen, Robert was beaten on 2 prior occasions between 9:07 and the time of his death, within minutes of his arrival at Marcy. Our investigation further revealed that there was no provocation.
So we suspected that they was already working him before he even got in the building. So he just said 2 prior ones. And I'm thinking he talking about just before going in there.
Our investigation further revealed that there was no provocation by Robert Brooks that would have precipitated any physical response whatsoever. Never mind.
So no proof, no evidence that he provoked this in any way. They just did this because they wanted to. And we sitting here watching these bastards walk right out like it's nothing.
The physical response that was inflicted upon him. I think any sentient human being looking at the tapes naturally comes to the conclusion that he must have said something. He must have spit at the officers. He must have resisted in some way. And the fact of the matter is, he did absolutely nothing.
That's crazy.
The first beating took place in what is referred to as the arsenal section of Marcy. It's the first enclosed structure that Robert entered after disembarking the bus from Mohawk. The second beating took place outside as Robert was being escorted to the infirmary.
Wow.
And by the way, he was being escorted to the infirmary because that is standard procedure when an inmate arrives at Marcy. And the third and final and fatal beating took place in the emergency room of the infirmary, which I said many of you have seen on tape. Indicted for murder in the second degree under a theory that they acted with depraved indifference to human life and caused.
Don't you think all of the stuff that he's saying makes them a danger to society and that they should never see the light of day? No dollar amount should have got these bastards out of prison.
Robert's death are former Marcy Corrections officers Anthony Farina, Nicholas Anzalone, David Kingsley.
Hold on, why he calling these names? Let's pull them up. Let's pull them up. It should be more of them charged. Please smack the thumbs up, y'all.
Christopher Walworth and Matthew Gallagher, They face as potential punishment life in prison.
Yeah, they deserve
Indicted
it. They probably won't
Robert's
get it.
death are former Marcy Corrections officers Anthony Farina, Nicholas Anzalone, David Kingsley, Christopher Walworth, and Matthew Gallagher. They face as potential punishment life in prison. Indicted for manslaughter in the second degree for recklessly causing Robert's death by essentially doing nothing are Michael Mashaw, Michael Fisher, and David Walters. They are facing a potential 15 years in state prison. And finally, indicted for tampering with evidence is Nicholas Gentile, a Class C felony punishable by 4 years in state prison.
Now, tampering with evidence could be more than
has been
that.
indicted for murder in the second degree, and he was unavailable to surrender himself. We do not believe he's a flight risk. He
Why
will
was
be
he
arraigned in the
unavailable?
very, very near future.
What?
3 former
Wait a
Marcy
damn minute.
Correction officers have reached plea agreements with the special
He wasn't available to surrender himself, but he ain't a flight risk. What did he just breeze past? The hell are we talking about?
felony punishable by 4 years in state prison. One additional defendant has been indicted for murder in the second degree, and he was unavailable to surrender himself.
Why is that? What?
We do not believe he's a flight risk. He will be arraigned in the very, very near future.
Who was that, I wonder?
3 former Marcy Correction officers.
Why the hell wasn't he available to surrender himself? Is that the 10th person we got coming up? I don't know. But why?
Officers
Is he
have
out the
reached
country?
plea agreements with the special prosecutor.
Is he fleeing?
I will not reveal their names nor their plea agreements until
Why?
such time as they appear in court.
Well, I think we got their names on this list somewhere. I don't know who he talking about, but it's a lot of them right here.
And enter their guilty pleas.
Wow.
At least 2 current or former Marcy employees and at least 1 current or former Mohawk employee are still under investigation, and the grand jury is still sitting and still able to hear evidence. I would advise them to seriously consider cooperating with the special prosecutor. That, of course, is their choice. I want to thank very much the governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul, for her assistance, both logistically and financially. She has given me every resource I need to successfully conclude and bring to justice in this case. I want to thank Chris Marticello, who is Assistant Superintendent of Docks. He has answered every question. He has done every request we have made of him. The state police have been outstanding in their investigative work, as they have been throughout my 45-year career as a prosecutor. I want to thank my longtime friends and my local colleagues, the county executive, Tony Pacenti. He has been a great, great host to me and my staff. It's made us feel very, very welcome. And of course, I want to thank my colleague and my new friend, Todd Carville, for his assistance, the Oneida County District Attorney. I want to thank my team, who I just introduced. I want to give a special thanks to 23 members of this community who selflessly gave of their time and cautiously and very, very deliberatively went over this case and returned this indictment. I want to thank Robert Brooks Jr. I don't know him very well. This is the second time I have met him. He strikes me as an extraordinary young man, and he has been very, very gracious and supportive of me and my team. I want to also thank Jared Brooks, who was Robert's brother, Robert Brooks, the deceased's brother, and also Robert Ricks, who was Robert's father. I remind everyone that all of these defendants are cloaked with the presumption of innocence, and they will get their day in court at some time in the very, very near future. I want to turn the microphone over to a couple of people. I'm going to start right now with New York State Police Superintendent Stephen James. Super.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
So before we go on to him, he mentioned Governor Hochul. So I wanted to bring up something that she got going on. So Governor Hochul fires 14 police involved in the Oneida County inmates unalive.
They deserve. Earlier today, Governor Hochul announcing New York Attorney General Letitia James continues her investigation into the inmate death at Marcy Correctional Facility in Oneida County. Her Office of Special Investigation looking further into the death of Robert Brooks following an encounter with correction officers. The OSI is now reviewing video of the incident, which will eventually be released to the public. Her office releasing a statement this afternoon saying in part, quote, law enforcement professionals must be held to the highest standards of accountability, and I am committed to providing New Yorkers with the transparency they deserve. Earlier today, Governor Hochul announcing she terminated 14 people's jobs involved in the incident, saying, quote, we have no tolerance for individuals who cross the line, break the law, and engage in unnecessary violence or targeted abuse.
I would say that giving them a bond is tolerance. You know what I'm saying? No tolerance would have meant that they wouldn't have had a bond. It wouldn't have been a freaking option. And it's definitely not a right. It's not like they deserve to have. They could have raised that bond higher than what they did. And so they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
This just about a half an hour ago, chants and screams erupted.
District Attorney Fitzpatrick and your staff. As the DA mentioned, essentially his office, through his special counsel responsibilities, assumed special counsel investigation of this case. And they immediately went to work. They worked closely with the members of the state police to put this case together. And certainly, as he said, it's not done, but I thoroughly appreciate the work and the professionalism that they put forward. I want to acknowledge the assistance that we received that was provided by the Onondaga County Medical Examiner's Office as well. So the state police, they were notified of Robert Brooks's death in the early morning of December 10th. Our investigation started immediately, led by our Bureau of Criminal Investigation right here within the Troop D area. We committed a significant number of resources in this case, which included the expertise and the support of our Special Investigations Unit, our Forensics Investigation Unit, and our Forensics Video Multimedia Unit. We expended a significant amount of resources and hours conducting extensive interviews, collecting evidence, and analyzing hundreds of pieces of evidence. We investigated more than 400 separate leads that were emanated from this case, and we executed 16 search warrants to date. These numbers, they illustrate the extraordinary efforts that our members dedicated to this case and our efforts in collecting basically information to get to the truth and providing answers to the family. I commend all of the members for their hard work. And I just want to close by offering my sincere condolence to the family of Robert Brooks. Now, I've been a member of law enforcement for a good number of years, and although I've personally overseen and investigated numerous criminal cases, I have to acknowledge that this was a horrific incident to view. And it was extremely difficult to watch and to comprehend.
Absolutely.
So I will clearly say here to the Brooks family and the community.
So I want to say thank you to everybody who hit the thumbs up, but we have 113 people with 29 thumbs up. Can we please get the thumbs up, y'all? It's very important. Welcome in, and Neat, thank you so much for coming in. What are y'all thinking about all of this? What are y'all thinking about this? Was the victim black? Of course. Yes, Robert Brooks. He was a black male. Let me pull up his picture. This is Robert Brooks, and his son is also fighting for him. He was the one that you seen in this infirmary getting work like this, and we now finding out that this was actually the third time that he was attacked by these bastards. So let me read a little bit more because I never did get finished with what I was reading. Please smack the thumbs up. Thank you for the 30 thumbs up. Our goal is just to reach 100 thumbs up right now. So if y'all could just help us with that, that would be great. Thumbs up is very important. So on December 9th, multiple correction officers repeatedly punched and kicked Brooks in the groin, abdomen, and face in an infirmary at the Marcy Correctional Facility in Oneida County. He died hours later at Utica Hospital. The savage beating, which prosecutors said last week was the final of 3, and we just heard him say that, was recorded on video by body cam worn footage that they didn't even realize was on. So it says here, recorded on video by body worn by 4 of the prison guards. None had turned on their cameras, but 30 minutes of the video was passively recorded without audio. Yeah, so that was God. That was God. Oneida County grand jury voted to indict the guards after viewing evidence presented by the county district attorney, William Fitzpatrick. He was appointed as a special prosecutor in early January after the state's general she recused herself, the Letitia James. Fitzpatrick previously said Kiefer did not appear with his fellow co-defendants last week. Now, which one is Kiefer? Let's pull that back up. So, they said Kiefer was confused about when he was supposed to turn himself in. Oh, so that's the one that they talking about that they didn't want to tell us. He was confused about when he was supposed to turn himself in. Jared, the prosecutor, said. So what kind of penalty do he get for being confused? Because ignorance of the law don't excuse you from breaking the law. So the 9 prison guards charged Thursday were Nicholas and Anzalone, okay, 2nd degree unaliving, 1st degree manslaughter, and 1st degree offering a false instrument for fouling. Anthony Farino, 2nd degree and 1st degree manslaughter. Matthew Gallagher, 2nd degree. It's the unaliving, I'm just not saying it. 1st degree manslaughter and 2nd degree gang assault. Christopher Walrath, 2nd degree and 1st degree manslaughter. David Kingsley, the 2nd degree and 1st degree manslaughter. Michael Fisher, 2nd degree manslaughter, just 2nd degree manslaughter. David Waters, 2nd degree manslaughter. Nicholas Gentile, and he wasn't Gentile at all, more close to a genital maybe, because that's kind of how it's spelled. But anyway, tampering with physical evidence. Sergeant Michael Marshaw, 2nd degree manslaughter. So all the defendants had pleaded not guilty, even though we seen it. So don't believe your lying eyes, because they are not guilty. And they have been told to return to court on March 31st. And if they don't, for the hearing. So multiple federal and state agencies are investigating. So Robert Brooks, his demise was ruled a homicide by the county medical examiner's office. And according to the family lawyer, Elizabeth Mazar, his cause of unaliving was compressions of his neck and multiple blunt impact injuries, which we are hearing right now. And so preliminary findings from Brooks' autopsy showed he suffered extensive bruising, a broken nose, bones, and bleeding from his genitals and neck. And boy, I mean, you could just see this man putting his foot so deep, like he was grinding it right there. That's pure hate. That's pure jealousy. It's always been a thing about the black man's genitalia that they love to try to destroy. Why is that? You piece of shit. When I tell y'all these they burn me up so much. But let's get through this. Brooks arrived at Marcy Prison at 9 p.m. December 9th. 3 guards carried him face down by his hands and his feet to the exam table before they did what they did to him while he was handcuffed, defenseless. And now we watching them get out with a bond, pleading not guilty.
I appreciate not only your strength and your composure, and essentially for having the trust in us that we would do what we could within our power to ensure that justice is served. Collectively, I thank you.
So, additionally, the Brooks family filed a wrongful death lawsuit last month in a federal court claiming that the state officials oversee a dangerously broken system and brutalizes inmates. Governor Kathy Hochul visited Marcy prison in the weeks after this attack and named a new permanent superintendent for the facility. She also announced a variety of initiatives to improve the large state prison system. So this is also probably why they all protesting right now, all in connection to Robert Brooks. So Hochul has ordered all state employees involving in the beatings to be fired. So she ordered all state employees involved to be fired. State officials and they also complaining about short conditions, not having enough staff, and all of this kind of stuff is going on in the prisons. But I don't feel sorry for them at all. But I do feel like, I mean, they do need the proper help. But see, now they've deployed the military, the National Guards, who don't even know the job. So this could be more dangerous for people, or it could be better. We don't know. But a lot of different things is happening in the world that's never happened before. So buckle up, because we on this ride. But don't get on no damn plane. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, you safer, or you ain't safe on a rocket either, because we got people in space that's scared to get on the Boeing rocket start thing to come back. But anyway, yeah, buckle up. Praise the Lord. Look to him, because can't nobody save us but him and ourselves, because we in this thing alone. So Hochul has ordered all state employees involved to be fired. Okay, 2 of the employees resigned. What? Really? Get out of here. They shouldn't even had a chance to freaking resign. But that's how it all works. It's all working out in their favor. See, time buys you a lot. They had a lot of time to get things together. But Robert Brooks didn't. That man was there to serve his time, and he didn't get a chance to go home because they decided that they was going to play the judge, juror, and executioner. But now that the tables is on them, everything is turned, the spotlight is on them, they want to cower and plead not guilty. And they got assistance. How they got $250,000 bond to get out? Where did they get it from? They don't make that kind of money. Welcome in, Blue Lotus. Let's go.
Hey, Superintendent, as you might imagine, Commissioner of Docs, Dan Marcello, is a little busy at the moment, and he has graciously allowed.
Please get the thumbs up, y'all. We got 39 thumbs up and 126 people in here. Please smack the thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. And if you're here on a replay, thank you for smacking that thumbs up, because the replay gang helps get me over that hump.
One of his deputies, Darren Miller, to speak to you today representing Docs. Darren.
Thank you, DA Fitzpatrick, and thank you everyone for being here. My name is Darren Miller, and I'm the Deputy Commissioner in Chief of the Office of Special Investigations for the Department of Corrections.
Thank you for your thumbs up.
As DA Fitzpatrick indicated, Commissioner Dan Marcello really wanted to be here today, but he's working hard to resolve an ongoing state of emergency across our state correctional facilities. I also want to start off by offering my sincere condolences to the family of Robert Brooks. What happened to Robert Brooks should never have happened, and is something that no family should have to endure. Today's indictments of the individuals responsible for the horrific killing of Robert Brooks marks an important step towards justice and healing. From the moment when we in OSI discovered the horrendous body-worn camera footage of these tragic events, Commissioner Marticello has said that the individuals responsible for this reprehensible act must be held accountable, and that this atrocious behavior cannot be normalized in our state's prison system. Today's indictments show that nobody in the department is above the law. I want to thank Governor Hochul, DA Fitzpatrick, State Police Superintendent James for their leadership, and express our gratitude to all of the investigators and prosecutors who have worked tirelessly on this case to date. Commissioner Marticello and the entire department's leadership team understand.
So I just wanted to talk about Brooks' charges and why he was there and some of the information about what happened. So Brooks, 43 years old, originally of Greece, Monroe County. Okay, he's originally of Greece, Monroe County. He was sentenced in 2017 to 12 years in prison on a first-degree assault charge. He was arrested after jabbing his girlfriend multiple times. He did. And I'm not sure if this is the mother of his child that this happened to. I remember reading about this before, and I gathered that it was her, but I'm not sure. Like, I'm not positive that it was, but I think that it was. Okay. So Brooks had been held in the Mohawk Correctional Facility, records show, but he was moved the day of this attack, right? At Marcy Prison. He was moved that day. He had been transferred for his safety. For his safety, and in the transfer, he wasn't safe. But he was transferred for his safety. At a state prison system, investigators testified since he had been involved in an altercation with other inmates. So, wow, that's crazy. Get into it with some inmates, get moved for your safety, and these bastards attack you for no reason. Why was it? What reason are they giving? None, because they so busy pleading not guilty. So the Marcy Prison is a medium security facility located in Oneida County, about 7 miles west of Utica. It had 829 inmates as of February 1st, records show. Okay, so let's listen to him. Thank everybody.
That this is a moment that requires swift and transparent prison reform, not simply words of comfort and empty promises. This work has already begun in docs, with an emphasis on a system-wide change and changes that will improve transparency and accountability. This includes expansion of the body-worn and fixed camera systems across all of our facilities, improved training, and the expansion of our investigative, analytical, and medical.
Look, check this out. They said state prison officials were worried last month about the safety of the inmate Robert L. Brooks. He was injured after 2 altercations with inmates at Mohawk Correctional Facility. It was decided he would be transferred to Marcy Correctional Facility, another state prison about 15 minutes away. Brooks did not find safety at Marcy. Multiple correctional officers, on the 9th. So that's crazy. That is absolutely insane. How many others have they done this to that lived and never got a chance to tell their story? I bet you it's a lot. But now we sitting up here listening at them cry and complain about the changes due to their actions. I don't know exactly where this is. Nobody is at rest. Also, the family is upset about the outcome. But let's go here.
Workers strike outside.
One of the CEOs, I was talking to him, and he had 125 hours of overtime in 1 week.
Bradley Zadel is another inmate at Groveland charged with criminal possession of a weapon, according to public records.
There was 3 last night when they finally came in. Yesterday, but they also left his shift from the night shift. He actually just walked out and kept the door locked, and we were in here for 3.5 hours with no officer and no guidelines.
It's been since 2021 the 45-year-old has been incarcerated. He tells
Let's go back.
The first time from inmates at the Groveland Correctional Facility as officers remain on strike. Governor Kathy Hochul deployed the National Guard to the majority of state prisons this week. The officers' union said it did not authorize the strike, which has now expanded to nearly all prisons across the state. 13 WAM's Carly Miner brings us the latest. Carly?
Yeah, Lowell, I spoke with 2 men over the phone today, and they tell me they're worried as tensions begin to rise behind the Groveland walls.
All the New York prisons.
36-year-old Cologne De Costa is an inmate at the Groveland Correctional Facility.
So I'm not sure where they started it at now, but it's expanded to all of them. And I actually heard that it was nationwide. That's why I wasn't sure. It's prisons across the world that's actually on strike. And they actually been threatened. Like if they are, it's like gonna be a missed day of work and all of this kind of stuff. They trying to get them to go back in there. The prisoners are doing what they do, and it's unsafe conditions. But thank you for that. So it's everywhere, y'all.
Facility. Public records show De Costa has been incarcerated since 2023 after being charged with second-degree criminal possession of a weapon.
And the tension is definitely building up.
Since the strike among correctional officers statewide, Groveland inmates tell me their lives have been placed on pause.
So once Monday hit, when the CO stopped coming in, they stopped all the movement in the jail. So we haven't been nowhere besides our dorm.
The strike has expanded to nearly all the prisons across the state of New York, according to the CO's union. The National Guard was deployed by Governor Kathy Hochul Wednesday to help inside the prisons as workers strike outside.
One of the COs, I was talking to him, and he had 125 hours of overtime in 1 week.
Bradley Zadel is another inmate at Groveland charged with criminal possession of a weapon, according to public records.
There was 3 last night when they finally came in. Yesterday, but they also left his shift from the night shift. He actually just walked out and kept the door locked, and we were in here for 3.5 hours with no officer and no guidelines.
It's been since 2021 the 45-year-old has been incarcerated. He tells me changes need to be made for better working and living conditions.
There should be certain instances or certain acts that if someone commits while they're in prison, then they have to deal with the Department of Corrections segregated confinement. The governor is forcing these men and women to work mandatory doubles and triples. They're here 40, 24 hours, 38 hours, 40 hours extra after already working a regular week.
Now, striking COs tell me the strike will continue into the weekend. Family Day is tomorrow, and I'm told loved ones will be joining those outside state facilities to support them. Lowell?
Wow, so Family Day, and they gonna be out there protesting too. This is horrible conditions. They need to get it together. I knew that Marcy name rung a bell. There were Marcy projects in New York too. I think Jay-Z grew up there. I know Jay-Z is from New York. I'm not sure what part of New York he's from. But yeah, y'all, it's chaos going on right now. Protests, National Guards is being released into prisons, and then let's see what she say here.
Governor Kathy Hochul expressed outrage over the killing of Robert Brooks after footage revealed his death in state custody. She emphasized the responsibility of the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervision to care for and protect individuals in its custody. The governor immediately launched a full investigation into the incident. She also directed DOC's Commissioner Marcello to start the termination process for 14 staff members linked to.
There was one guy that said he went to the prison,
including officials.
Unsanctioned correction officer strike. According to a Department of Corrections and Community Supervision spokesperson, officers who are continuing to strike will be considered AWOL, and as of this afternoon, will have their state-sponsored health insurance terminated.
That's crazy.
Meanwhile, local leaders are showing their support of the officers by joining the picket lines. News 4's Sarah Makowitz caught up with elected officials and the wife of a correction officer outside the Wendy Correctional Facility.
There are hardworking individuals and families and young kids who are standing here and devoted to getting our voices heard.
Julie's husband is a correction officer at the Wendy Correctional Facility in Alden. She's tired of constantly stressing about her husband's safety.
It's difficult, unknown if he's going to come home at the end of the day. There are often times when I'm standing at the window and I don't know if he's going to show up.
Do you know that I believe that it is some good correction officers, just like I believe it's some good cops, and the bad ones make it harder for the good ones. Because, I mean, they make it hard because that's the part that we all see. We don't see when they're doing good. We don't see that. We only see when they unalive somebody. And it unfortunately, it hurts everybody. Everybody got to suffer because of this. That's why you should do the right thing. You know, it's just a whole domino effect with this. No one wins. This is crazy.
She's also worried about his working conditions.
No one expects to walk into work and have fecal matter or urine thrown in their face. This is disgusting and deplorable.
For almost a week, correction officers and their families have been fighting for change on the picket lines.
I'm sure they got some bad stories, man. There's some bad people in this world. But when you become them and you supposed to be the guard, you supposed to be the system in there, you know, to make sure everything works smoothly, and you don't do your part. Now this is what happens. This is what happens, and it's sad. I mean, it all need to work the way that it's supposed to work, but here we are.
Have a conversation about the current conditions for everybody who's in that prison, not just the officers, not just staff, but also the incarcerated individuals, because it's impacting everybody.
On Saturday, COs received a boost of support from local leaders throughout the South Towns, including officials from the towns of Marilla, Lancaster, and Alma, as well as officials from Cheektowaga, Alden, Holland, and Wales.
Comes to a point.
Listen, people, we're human, right? You got to treat each other with respect. I mean, let's just get back to that. Treating people like they're human and quit acting like you better than somebody. Like, these people don't even make that much money. They don't even have, they're not even real cops. You know what I'm saying? But they are cops in there. But to see this rogue behavior that they did is really hard to feel sorry for them, because you wonder how many other ones of them like that is in there. Because these guys worked for a while before they was finally fired, and it caused, I mean, this is where the protesting and the speaking out come in at. They didn't move fast enough with these guys. It's ridiculous. And now look at this.
And it's about safety, and their safety is not being taken care of.
A lot of our residents are correction officers. So, you know, we're concerned with their safety, going to work and coming home every day and being able to take care of their families. And their families are really worried.
The towns of Lancaster and Marilla are among the municipalities drafting a resolution for the state to reverse the HALT Act, a law that limits the use of solitary confinement.
When towns get together and pass resolutions that state our objections to some of the things they're doing in Albany, I think it has some weight. And so what we're going to try to do as towns in this area is send a message to Albany and to Kathy Hochul. This has got to be changed.
When we send that message to Albany, we need the governor to listen to us and take action and make the prison safer for the employees.
See, now that is sounding just like some stuff that she changed because of Robert Brooks. I'm not 100% sure, but I bet you they did a great service to the community. Let me see what he's talking about. I'm gonna see when that act first came about.
To listen to us and take action and make the prison safer for the employees.
This has got to be changed.
When we send that message to Albany, we need the governor to listen to us.
In Albany, I think it has some weight. And so what we're going to try to do is
a law that limits the use of solitary confinement.
When
the law that limit the use of solitary confinement. What's the name of it? Let's see.
For the state to reverse the HALT Act,
HALT, okay.
a law that limits the use of solitary confinement.
when towns get together and pass resolutions that state our objections to some of the things they're doing in Albany, I think it has some weight. And so what we're going to try to do as towns in this area is send a message to Albany and to Kathy Hochul. This has got to be changed.
When we send that message to Albany, we need the governor to listen to us and take action and make the prison safer for the employees.
So this says, this is coming from NBC5. It says, after a week of protests and unsanctioned strikes outside the prison in New York North Country, Senator Dan Steck made an attempt to answer demonstrators' demands to repeal the HALT Act. The bill was passed in 2022, placing limitations on isolation and solitary confinement practices in prison. So this was prior to Robert Brooks. This was already in place since 2022. The bill was passed. And so the former and current correction officers have blamed the HALT Act for an increase in violence and unsafe working place due to the lack of disciplinary options. So why did they change it? It got who was the prisoner that made them change it? It's a reason why they changed it. I would like to know why. Why was it enacted? Did we need a HALT Act? I bet you somebody in solitary confinement probably found themselves dead. Trigger words. Advocates for the HALT Act have argued that isolation worsens behavior challenges. So STAT represents a hostile amendment to the repeal the law on Monday, less than a week after he visited multiple upstate prisons where protesters had gathered. In the 2 years since it took effect, state prisons have seen a 32% increase in assaults on staff, STAT said. Inmate assaults has increased a whopping 81%. I've had inmates, including honor block inmates, tell me that they felt safer prior to the HALT Act. Okay, let me let this play.
Hopefully this will drive additional change. And hopefully we can move forward.
Okay.
The solution isn't throwing Band-Aids on bullet holes, okay? That's not the solution. The solution is have an open, transparent conversation about what happens in that prison. And unfortunately, it's gone too far.
Sarah Mikowitz, News 4.
Okay, so I just got a call. I have to end y'all soon. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hi, everyone coming in. BFF said, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I got a couple live streams set up. One is going to pop up after this. It may be the Ashley Elkins. I got like 3 of them that I got to get through. And my goal is to do them this week. But I want to see what y'all talking about. They did a great service. Okay, there are bad apples in every bunch. That's a fact. I think so too. Okay, he's from Brooklyn. Just imagine how bad they treat the prisoners. Marcy prison here. Yes. So, you in New York, Eula? Let me see. So, have an amazing day, Miss V. Thank you so much, Blue Lotus. You have a great day too. I appreciate that. So, solitary confinement. I am made to believe that I am being looted by what? I didn't want to put that up. All right. I'm not going to even read it because it got bad words, trigger words, and I don't know if you trolling or not. See you later, Gap. Thank y'all again. Please be sure to smack the thumbs up on the way out. And that's it for the coverage for today, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Please check out my playlist, y'all. I got playlists for if you've been following the Naziah Harris case, you can go to my homepage and find all of my playlists. I have so much content. I've been reporting crime since 2020. And so everything is very organized, and you will probably find what you've been looking for. Anytime I cover a case and it's something that if I covered it once and it's ongoing, I be sure to follow it to the end. And so I have many playlists like that. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate y'all being here. Please be sure to like, share, and also subscribe to my channel. Hold on, let me go to, I'm not even in the right place. But yeah, as far as those damn prison guards.
Lock his ass up. Lock his ass up. You're going to jail. You're going to jail.
Bubba them waiting on you.
Nanny boo boo.
Okay, and shout out to the 74 people that's still in the building, and thank you for the 48 thumbs up. Please tap it again. Make sure your thumbs up stuck by hitting the 3 dots to the upper right. And please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Make this go viral. Shout out to my HMIC. Shout out to all my members, moderators, and subscribers. I appreciate that, Blue. Thanks for sharing. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you for dropping that good fire and horns. Double tap that screen, y'all. The like is very important. I don't know why people don't want to hit that thing. And then the question was, I said, please help us reach our goal by hitting the thumbs up. 28% already. I got you. 58% just did 14%. And so how many votes was that? We had more votes than we had thumbs up. 71 votes. And we only got 49 thumbs up. So somebody lying.
What in the fuckity fuck kind of shit is this?
Wow. But anyway, y'all, peace and love. We out.